Welcome everybody again. My name's Laura Minkini. I'm the founder of AthenaDAO, and I'm very excited to have today with me the founders of OneSkin. What we want to do for the pop-up is present companies that come from scientific research from the lab into actually innovation. It's so important for us at AthenaDAO that women understand this, because when we talk about research, it seems too far off. And we want to show them that there's promise. If we put money in the research, we're going to get amazing products out of the market that are not just, make us feel good, but that actually help us. So I'm going to let the founders of OneSkin introduce themselves first, and then we're going to learn more about their scientific journey into consumer products. Carolina?
So, thank you, Laura. Thanks for inviting us to be here. Thank you, everyone, for coming. My name is Carolina. I hold a PhD in stem cell biology and tissue engineering. Really was always passionate about science and the opportunity of translating science to create something that could impact and improve humans' health. So during my PhD, I studied stem cell biology, and I started translating this research into another company back in Brazil. We were growing human tissues in the lab to test new drugs and new products to evaluate both toxicity and efficacy. And eventually, this led me to come to the US in 2016 to join a biotech accelerator in the bio, when we decided really to focus on skin and aging and understand this market of anti-aging, the efficacy of the products, if they can actually deliver what they are claiming. And that's how the idea of OneSkin started, that we can shed a little bit more. And that's how Alessandra, we met each other like in 2009. Yeah, so we were doing masters and PhD in the same lab. And then we reconnected. I brought her to San Francisco in 2017. And since then, we are working on this amazing research together.
Yay! So, hi everyone. Thank you for being here today, this morning. I'm Alessandra Zonari. As Carol mentioned, I'm also from Brazil. Born and raised in Brazil, but always wanted to go outside, explore, and learn more. So during my PhD, I moved to Portugal. I'm a scientist as a background, and I was studying skin regeneration. So I moved to Portugal to learn how to build the models of skin and how to associate biomaterials with stem cells for wound healing. And after my PhD, I continued in Portugal for other 2 years doing postdoc. And I started a company in Portugal offering stem cells for wound healing pets. But was very challenging to start a company. I was doing my postdoc, and Carolina was starting a company in Brazil at the same time. Very challenged with the other two co-founders of OneSkin. And then at the end of 2016, Carolina reconnected to me and said, "Oh, I'm in San Francisco now. I'm starting this company. The girls stayed in Brazil, and it's about skin." And all I have done in the past 5 years was study skin. So I moved to San Francisco in 2017 to lead the research at OneSkin. So it's been over 7 years that we started as a company, as a biotech company, founded by scientists, and was only scientists in a lab here in Dog Patch, doing research to understand skin aging and to validate and test the efficacy of products. So we didn't set to be a brand, but we started with the science, but always with the goal of translating. Our dream was to translate our science, our knowledge, into something that would be beneficial for people, for our health. So I will stop here so we can
You already went through, you already answered a couple of my questions, but I love that they mentioned the translation part, because I think most people don't realize that when research is done, sometimes the research is done to ask a question of science, to just know, and then there's translation, which means trying to have an end goal. And and that's what's really amazing, that you were working on translational research, and that's how it ended up being a product. And just for context, imagine 7 years it takes to get to being there and have distribution and have 6 SKUs. I really love that we can go through this journey, because it's, you call yourself a biotech company, You're also in the longevity field, so longevity biotech. And now is what I like to call more consumer biotech, which is, I think, super important. And we have somebody here that tweets about it all the time, Shelly there. And I think it's such an important topic that we don't talk enough about, because it's the new way in which beauty, food, and other products are also going to come to market that are more, it's just not based on an Instagram personality, which is nice, but we should have other options. So with that, I'd say one of the first things I remember learning from OneSkin a long time ago when we met was our skin is the largest organ.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you tell us the main function? Can you tell me, Carolina, the main function of skin so everybody learns more?
Yeah. So the main function of the skin is to protect our body. So the skin creates a barrier that protects our body against environmental stressors, pathogens, infections. And that's why it's so important to maintain our skin like strong and intact. That barrier needs to be intact, because every time that we are, damaging our skin or doing whatever treatments that are exposing our skin, we also make our skin more vulnerable to those environmental stressors. So when we talk about in OneSkin, one of our main promises is to improve the health of the skin by maintaining that skin barrier and basically working from the inside out. A lot of the products in the market, they needed to strip your skin, the outer layers of your skin, so temporarily you are gonna be more vulnerable. For example, if you're using acids or retinols, you are gonna be more exposed. You can recover from that, but I think it makes you more susceptible to sun damage or sun sensitivity during that period. And it's okay if you're really, using a sunscreen or if you're really balancing that out. But if you overdo it, you can be compromising your skin barrier or your skin health in the long term. And for us, there is a way that we can deliver both without compromising the skin health. And I think another important point that we want to bring is that it's not only about our face. When we think about our skin as an organ, it is about our whole body. And most of us, we tend to neglect, the rest of their body. We're just putting 10 different products on our face until we get to, maybe close to menopause, or that our skin starts to get thin and very fragile. And later in life, that skin is gonna tear easily, and then it's gonna really affect our quality of life because we did not take care of our skin as we should, in a way that we could maintain the skin strong and healthier if we had that mindset. So that's something that we want to bring in terms of awareness, because I think that's so important. And even how the skin connects with our internal health, because if the skin is fragile on the outside, again, it's more vulnerable to infections and pathogens that will increase inflammation, and that inflammation can increase our internal levels of inflammation, which we know that chronic inflammation is associated with chronic diseases. So your skin can be contributing to that if we're not taking proper care.
And aging is inflammation.
Yes, inflammation is the main thing that we all want to avoid, right? The inflammation, which is also super directly correlated with the...
So speaking of aging, for those who want to know, what is the root cause of aging, if you want to explain it as a scientist?
Yeah, so we're all getting older, and we see that our body changes throughout this process, and it starts not functioning as healthy as when we are young. So we are being exposed all the time to several stressors that are somehow affecting our DNA. So at the molecular level, aging is happening because changes are happening inside of our cells that are giving different signals, and there are behaviors that are changing internally that leads to a dysfunctional tissue with the time. So when we are young, all our cells are functioning normally and doing what they need to do. The root cause of aging, all the stress, all the time, the aging process, the internal aging process, some of the cells, they start not working as a healthy cell, start accumulating damage, start secreting more inflammation. So there are 12 hallmarks of aging, meaning there are 12 things now known that leads to the aging process, that are the root cause of aging. And they all connect on this dysfunctional of the cellular level. So when the cell starts to not behave as a young cell and start promoting more, secreting more inflammation, for instance, it creates this stressor environment, and the tissue starts to not behave as a healthy tissue and gets more susceptible to the presence of chronic diseases. So on the root cause, right? So on the root cause of aging, one of the processes when the cells stop working as a healthy cells is that they stop the ability of dividing, they accumulated damage inside, and they secrete inflammation. This inflammation is usually assigned to, okay, get rid of me, clear out, like I need to be removed of this tissue. But with time, our immune system does not work so properly, and these senescent cells, they start to accumulate in our tissues. They accumulate on our skin, they accumulate on our brain, on our lungs. So in all of the tissues, this process is happening. But when they are accumulating and our body has not ability to remove them or to prevent them to still be accumulating, this inflammation that's being secreted by the cells, they contribute to the inflammaging process, and it's just like this dysfunctional environment that makes more susceptible to diseases. So we kind of compare the senescent cells a lot of times with a rotten apple in a basket, because when you have like a apple that's very bad and has all like spoiling that thing around it, if you don't remove that apple, all the others starts to be contaminated. So it's the same kind of analogy. So what we want, one of the ways that we can improve our health is avoiding the accumulation of those rotten apples or these bad cells in our tissues. That way we allow the healthy ones to continue healthier and to be able to do what they need to do. In the case of the skin, produce collagen, renew the skin barrier function.
So I think one thing that people that are, we're all aging, but younger people versus maybe a little bit older, I think one thing that people are more aware of is hormonal health.
Yeah.
So how does your hormonal health impact your skin in the different stages of life?
So estrogen is a hormone that's very linked with your skin health because it's necessary to the collagen production, to the renewal of your skin barrier, for the keeping the moisture of your skin. And us as women, when we even like in menstrual cycles, our levels of hormone changes, and on menopause, what happens is a big drop of estrogen. And with this big drop, without that hormone, you start to produce less collagen. So there is a very big correlation and that's why during menopause, after menopause, our skin becomes drier and more sagging. It's all related to the drop on the levels of hormones that we are facing there. So hormone therapies, like to replace those hormone levels, it's one of the ways that you can also help your body to keep a healthier skin.
It's the only way right now.
Yeah.
The only option.
Yeah. OneSkin can help, but
a way of like counteracting is also using products like OneSkin that's boosting your fibroblasts to produce, that are helping your cells to produce more collagen. So on our technology, we're not changing your hormonal levels, but we are like helping the healthy cells of your skin to continue to renew the skin barrier and produce collagen. Because in the end, it's an association. You have the drop of hormones, but you also have the senescent cells being present. So when you don't have the hormone, the inflammation of these senescent cells start to aggravate even more the tissue. So hormone replacement therapy, one way, combined with things like OneSkin, can just like help even more.
And speaking of aging, why did you choose, and this was strategic because I know you were always a longevity company, why did you choose to be called a longevity company rather than anti-aging? Because That was a decision, and people should know the difference, because when you look at products, when you go to your regular store, you see anti-aging, and OneSkin is strict. To speak of longevity.
Yeah, it goes back to what I was saying, that we are focused on first targeting like the root cause of aging, what is driving aging or this dysfunction at the cellular level, in order to improve the health of your skin and consequently improve how your skin looks, but not the other way around. I think the anti-aging industry is really obsessed with like make you look younger at all costs, and that sometimes this comes at a cost of your skin health. So and it's more, I would say, superficial, while for us longevity needs to go to the root cause and also to work for the long term. We are not here just to deliver like quick fixes or quick results. We are here to support your skin health throughout your life. And I think when we decided to really create a product around the skin and longevity, we were seeing like this birth of longevity, like the science was really flourishing, and a lot of companies were using this new cool science. Like we now understand much better what's driving aging, how we can target these aging cells in order to make our tissues function like younger tissues again. But everyone was focusing on the heart, on the brain, on the joints. And we saw, okay, there is an opportunity to bring this to skincare, because there is a market that's really eager for products that are, really effective. And also there is a new consumer that's, again, more focused on this holistic health. And that for us, when we speak about our approach, they will connect very fast. Like, okay, that makes sense why, you are targeting aging and why this product should work. And then we saw basically an opportunity to own this longevity part of your ritual, like in trying to optimize your health by, through the lens of skin.
Well, I always say that people are going to believe in longevity or being able to reverse aging through what they end up seeing on the face anyways one day. It's like, oh, wow, you're looking younger. Oh, yes, longevity does work.
Yeah. And in the end, it's a combination, right? It's not that I can put like the best product on my face and I can have
drink alcohol.
Drink alcohol and not exercise. And,
there's no magic pill. There's still no magic pill for any of this.
Holistic process. So like you need to look to your health as one thing, and they all will be combining. Like if you're eating well, if you're like hydrating yourself, exercising, taking care of your sleep, you will feel more energetic, your skin will be looking better. If you're associating this with good products, good food, it will all combine to at the end. I mean, for me, I feel that today, 4 years after not only using OneSkin, but also changing my longevity mindset and habits, I feel younger than 4 years ago. So I think it works.
You were a scientist before that, so back in the lab. Very different. We have like a couple of scientists here, so I hear the stories. So you started with the OS1 peptide. That was your first product. I guess, it'll be great to explain to everybody what the peptide does and how it works, so people know.
Okay, so OS1 peptide, this peptide is a molecule. Peptides, they are like small fractions of a protein. It's formed by amino acids, and it's a molecule that can signal to your cells to behave certain ways. So what we did at OneSkin was we were researching for a novel molecule that could reduce the accumulation of the senescent cells, of the bad ones, could reduce the inflammation that's being secreted in the environment, and therefore avoiding the formation of novel senescent cells. So we went through a process where we looked to, in total, almost 1,000 molecules until we identified this OS1 peptide that we patented, we named OS1. So this molecule is specifically targeting the accumulation of the senescent cells on the skin. So by doing that, allows the healthy cells to proliferate and produce more collagen, and also allows for a better renewal and a stronger skin barrier. So we started as when we found this peptide, what's interesting, we were still a group of only scientists in the lab. We have this interesting new molecule. Let's start talking to the big companies. We will license this molecule. That was the first thought, because I mean, we were not there yet thinking we were able to build a brand. But very fast, when we started talking, Carolina was talking to someone at L'Oreal, and the whole process with these big corporates takes so long, and we were like, oh, maybe we will be able to license this peptide. What they will do with that information? Maybe they will keep on their shelves. It's so novel. We're testing the lab, comparing to other things. It's better, like, let's create our brand. And we were like so excited about it, and we started telling people that we were creating our brand, that we will transform this peptide into a product, and people are like, are you crazy? You girls know nothing about marketing. Beauty is a huge, very competitive market. You guys will not be able to accomplish. And we were like, yeah, we are doing this.
And a lot of people would also say, are you doing this to develop a cosmetic? So you don't need to do science. Why are you developing science?
Science, yeah, it was a huge. So then, because of the data, we decided, okay, let's formulate this and bring into a product. And the OS1 Face was our first moisturizer. We developed that to be used on your whole face. You can also apply on your hands and your neck. And then that was the first one. And we then decided, okay, as Carol said, it's not only about your face. We want to treat the whole body. So what would be the essential products for this essential healthy skin routine? And that's how we added a body moisturizer, a cleanser, a product for the skin around the eye that was a specific development, and now we also have sunscreen.
If I can just add a few details. Well, once we decided to create a brand, first, it was really hard to have the funds, because again, as a scientist, most people don't believe that we can create a brand. and investors were asking, okay, how are you gonna, prove me that this works, like proving humans. Okay, I see this beautiful data in the lab, but now I need to see the impact in humans. And we didn't have money to run a clinical studies, which is usually really expensive. So one of our scientists formulated the first versions of our product. I flew back to Brazil. I recruited all my mom's friends, and we did our first clinical study with my mom's friends, and we took like before and afters, and we were seeing like these amazing results. And then we went back to investors, and we showed like the results. We got a little bit more funding. We ran a proper clinical study, and then we brought our product to the market. So just to say that the path to get like to a brand and to get to a product to the market is really, really bumpy. And but obviously you figure out as an entrepreneur, you're always making things happen. That's how this product actually.
I love that you're smiling through it, because I see it now with a lot of the female founders. And now I worked in the fashion industry before doing this, and I ran a consumer company as well before. So I worked in different industries. I've never encountered how women have to prove themselves so much in the tech industry. I see like guys are throwing millions of dollars for an idea, and with women is you need to prove me, you need to show me, it has to work, it has to be. And it's like the thing that, you cannot really speak too much about it, because then they say you're a naysayer. But I tell you, everyone here, when a woman gets this done, it's because it took a lot. So kudos for that. The fact, it's 10 times the work. But I remember, you had Peter Diamandis on board right at the beginning, right?
Yeah, that was also someone that really supported us and helped us through the beginning. Because he, again, was super interested in longevity. And when we pitched him, like, what we were doing, he said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And 4 women PhDs, and this is incredible.
Brazilian women too.
So he definitely, became an advisor and really helped us in this beginning to, start to get the word out, and being associated with him was really impactful for the brand. And he's still a great partner.
So before we go, I'm sure people have questions, and we really want to get questions from everybody. I guess I want to ask what's next for OneSkin now that you have the 6 products out. Are you going to go into makeup or?
No. I mean, we would only consider makeup if it's something that's also skincare that can actually deliver, 2-in-1, because one of our, again, part of our philosophy is to simplify. So that's why our line is really minimalist. But we are still mainly focusing on addressing the needs that we may not be completely addressing yet. So, for example, the first moisturizer, for those who have tried, and there are testers here, so everyone please try.
Yeah, they're in the back, please,
yeah.
if you haven't.
It's more on the lighter texture, and it's good because it should work well for most people, but for a lot of people it's still not very hydrating. And we know that with aging and menopause, your skin will get drier and drier. So we are working on a richer version of, this is confidential actually. But anyway,
we'll hold the video until you tell us it's okay.
But so in the end, we are trying to address the needs from our customers that we're still not addressing with our current products, but in a way that we still try. For example, if you have this richer cream, you don't necessarily use the face moisturizer morning and night. You use the face in the morning, and then you use the richer cream in the night. So always having this idea of like simplifying while still meeting like the needs of our customers. And I think on the science front, for us, like, it's not that we are done with the one peptide. Like, we know that aging is still a very complex problem, and the science is evolving, and we are scientists, and we are following the newest research, and we want to be translating this into products to our consumers in a way that in 2 years from now we'll have like better versions of our current product, because we want to always keep up with the science.
So you're still there doing R&D?
Yeah, we still have a team of researchers that are full-time here at our lab space that continue doing the research on the development of the products, but also testing the new technologies and science to address skin aging as well. So we're still looking for novel, other additional molecules that can be later on combined with the OS1, and or even like better ways to deliver OS1 so we can potentialize the effect of the OS1 in novel formulas in the future. So the research has not stopped at all.
And just to add one more thing, because we were always talking about reversing aging, and many brands like claim that they can reverse aging. OneSkin is the first company that can actually quantify this age reversal effect. So in the lab, when we grow skins and we treat with this peptide, we can actually measure the age of the skin's biological age. And with the peptide, we saw that we could reverse the age of the skin in 2.5 years. So this is really exciting, because it's actually, again, the first time that we can quantify and then we can prove that a certain ingredient can actually make your skin behave like younger skin again. And now we're running clinical studies to validate in humans how that age reversal happens in humans. And as Alessandra said, we'll continue to run, and now we have 2.5 years. Maybe for next iteration we'll get to 5 or 7 years. In a way that keep your skin biologically younger means that your skin will be healthier, stronger, and looking younger as well.
So before we go to the Q&A, everybody, the little bags with AthenaDAO have OneSkin samples. And also, I know that there's some fancier of the brand. If you scan the QR code and buy today with the ADLabs code, you get a little bit of a discount as well. So that's also the idea, that you can also get better pricing here today. And at all the pop-ups that we have this, if you go to our calendar, you'll find the other 7 events. And that price is available for all those special events. So I'm going to let people ask questions because I'm sure there's a lot of, when it comes to skin, there's always a lot of questions. Please go ahead.
So there are a lot of ingredients out there that fall under the umbrella of endocrine disruptors. There's like phthalates, and there's chemical sunscreens, and a whole laundry list. But I think it's kind of challenging to know which ones truly deserve to be avoided and which ones get an unnecessarily bad rep, especially chemical sunscreens. I feel like I'm very on the fence on those.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from your perspectives, from a science-backed point of view, are the ones that you would recommend, especially for women, given the role of estrogen, we should be avoiding, which ones are fine and we can reap the benefits from?
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's a great question. It's still an area that, as you said, it's hard to have a very clear answer. For us, it's really hard to mimic, any hormonal response in our models. So whenever we are on the fence, we go on the safer side of trying to avoid all of them. For us, what we can measure, and we haven't tested like specific potential endocrine disruptors, is that if they are causing any disruption in the cellular level, if they're increasing inflammation, if they're increasing genes associated with aging, that for us is definitely a no-go. So we are always screening like each ingredient and evaluating if not only the ingredient itself, but if the combination in the end is driving the markers in the right direction. And that's when we feel good about, okay, we are bringing a product that's not only safe, but it's actually, bringing the benefits. So, and even with, chemical sunscreens, I agree. I think it's still, there is a lot of bad reputation. The studies are not very conclusive. Right now, as I said, like we have a mineral sunscreen because it's the one that is still considered safer. But there is so much out there, and for us, we even started in the beginning. Our main proposal was to test toxicity of products, and there was no market. No one wants to pay us for that. So
I love that. It's
I
like,
know.
we have this idea. No.
Yeah, like let's
It's
test
okay.
if your product is toxic. No, I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. I'm already launched the product. I don't want to
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Tell me how our product's good.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, yeah, for us was even a way that, unfortunately, there's so much out there. It's impossible to test all of them. So at least what we're bringing out to the market, we feel very confident about that.
Because as you mentioned, like there are a lot of ingredients that gets the bad reputation, but it's not only about the presence of the ingredient, the concentration. Sometimes like there are ingredients,
100%.
especially on the preservative side, that's needed for the product, and people, it has that name, I cannot use, but it's harder to a consumer to know, what was the concentration? Super hard. So our commitment, as Carolina was saying, on our company, is to test all our products. The formula, when we are developing, every change we treat on the skin and we see if it's disrupting or not the skin. So we're very secure of what we're launching, and we run like RIPT tests, that's tests for sensitizations in humans, but not all the companies do that. So I understand that's kind of hard to navigate. I always say like try to find brands that you trust on what they are bringing to the market, more than just like, this ingredient is bad or good, because if you trust that company, it's because they did the test, if they are doing the research.
And there are some organizations that help validate these products. Not all of them. I mean, none of them I would say that's perfect. But for example, we just got this seal from the National Eczema Foundation Association. So they test your products and they see if it's safe for someone that has eczema, it's generally safe for people in general. There is another one that we also were validated by that's called Skin Safe Products. And there are others out there, EWGs, there's not some people don't necessarily agree. So I think in the end, for the consumer, I would at least choose one or a few organizations and just check if the products or the ingredients, how they are rated or ranked. That at least gives a little bit more, I'd say, a clear answer for the consumer, because it is really hard, unfortunately.
I have a question about peptide. I was listening to you talking about senolytics and senolytic properties of the peptide. How different is it from an actual an oral supplement senolytic rather than the surface level? And another question also about the peptide. How different is it from let's say retinol, because retinol is also helps to renew the skin, like the peptide, but what's the difference?
So regarding the oral injection of a peptide or applying topically, anything that you ingest orally is going to all over your body, right? That's being distributed. And a lot of times it will go to areas that are more in need or something like that. You cannot control where is the action of that molecule that you are taking. Our proposal, since we want to treat the skin, when you apply topically, you're delivering exactly on the skin and you're knowing that the effect that you are having, it's on the skin. Not said that you cannot combine like the application of topical with the supplements. They can be together, used together to enhance, but for us, like the topical delivery is to specify for the skin. And our peptide compared to retinol, so retinol, it increases the cell turnover of the epidermal layer, and you have this kind of acceleration of renewal that for who has sensitive skin ends with sometimes peeling out your skin, which can be problematic because when you are peeling, you're exposing your skin to damage. Our peptide and this effect of retinol, although it improves the surface of the skin and can even boost collagen as well, is not eliminating the senescent cells. So it means that your skin will look better, but it's not 100% functioning as a younger skin. So we even like, for those that loves the effect of the retinol on the skin, we like to say associate with our product, because then you will continue seeing the benefits of the retinol that's targeting on one pathway, that's the retin A, and our peptide that's reducing the inflammation secreted by the senescent cells and reducing the accumulation of senescent cells. So you can have like additional benefits if you associate both. For those that are I'm extremely sensitive to retinol, it's a good alternative. Like you can have benefits similar to retinol plus the effect of reducing the cellular senescence without the irritation side that for those has sensitive skin.
I have a question regarding rapamycin. So did you compare your molecule with rapamycin and with oral rapamycin or with topical rapamycin?
So we only compared rapamycin on a lab setup, like on the skins that we treat in the lab. So in that case, the rapamycin is applied in the media, it's not topically, and we never ran clinical studies with rapamycin because the rapamycin is a small molecule, it's like a different pathway.
No one has run a proper growth. Well, they have, but very small ones.
Yeah, they had a topical one, clinical study that was published. But rapamycin is a very good xenomorphic molecule, but needs to be careful with the concentration of rapamycin because can lead to side effects. So on our research, on the in vitro data, what we saw is that we could increase collagen. Rapamycin was also decreasing some levels of senescence and inflammation, but our molecule was able to improve more proliferation because rapamycin sometimes suppress proliferation. So we increased still proliferation and collagen production to higher levels. But all our comparison with rapamycin was done in the lab, and for us, our molecule is safer than rapamycin. You're welcome.
You had a question?
Yeah,
And there was one here
over
as
there.
well.
Okay.
you also have a cleanser, and how much time does the peptide have to actually penetrate and work versus, I understand that if you have cream it will stay on longer and has more time to penetrate.
So the cleanser is the only product that does not contain the peptide because it's a washout product. So the idea we brought a cleanser because it just complements the routine. A lot of people, they don't have a cleanser. We wanted to create one that's gentle, that does not strip out your skin, but has a light exfoliation. So it was developed to be able to remove impurities, makeup, and to prepare your skin, dead cells, and prepare your skin to a better absorption of our products, but it does not contain peptide and is not intended to deliver by itself the peptide. But the fact that it cleans your skin and exfoliates gently, what we saw in the lab is that you can increase the penetration of the peptide after cleansing your skin compared to not cleansing it.
Okay.
It does not mean another cleanser could have similar effect.
Yeah.
Like
the main thing of the cleanser, as Alessandra said, is that it's formulated to maintain, to not disrupt your skin microbiome, which is another important piece that we always should be aware when choosing products, but mainly with cleansers that can really strip out your skin microbiome and also not to dry your skin or promote this exfoliation in a way that is light but gentle, still gentle, in a gentle way.
Just before the last couple of questions, there was a surprise raffle for everybody who attended.
Oh, yeah.
So a name was generated. I think, is it Dara? Yeah. Who's Dara? Oh, Dara, you're the winner. I make sure that it's the one bag that has all the products.
Congrats!
Yay! So you get your AthenaDAO bag, and then also these ones wanted to also give them to you already.
Oh, thank you.
Your speaker bags.
Thank you so much.
But we'll continue with that way everybody can be an AthenaDAO gear around town. I hope you enjoy the products. Make sure you post. Say thank you.
I never win usually.
Oh, well, there you go. Today was
lucky
your
day.
And we're actually going to be having a couple more raffles online, so make sure you follow the brands, us, and everybody else, so you look out for that. But there were 2 more questions. Go ahead, please.
When creating the carrier to put that peptide into, what was the process and why did you decide to put it in a cream and how much testing did you do to make sure the peptide was getting into the skin?
Great. Yeah, go ahead.
So we wanted the peptide to be delivered topically, so we knew that it would be through like a cream. So the kind of emulsifiers to produce this lotion was influencing how the peptide could penetrate. This peptide has a specific size, and like the properties of the peptide is very susceptible for penetration, so the specific type of the peptide. And then in order to confirm that it's delivering, there is this kind of experiment in the lab where we receive human skins from leftover of plastic surgery. We apply the product on top, and then we're able later on to separate the layer of the dermis and check if there is peptide there. So it's a whole process of experiments. So we were able to optimize and confirm that the peptide is indeed penetrating the skin and acting where it should be.
Yeah, I had a question. As founders with such strong scientific backgrounds, how did you guys approach everything that has to be done with launching a consumer brand, whether it's manufacturing, branding, marketing, supply chain, regulatory stuff? Like, how did you guys figure all that out?
Still learning.
Learning on the fly.
By doing.
Exactly. I mean, for the brand, we basically, found someone that could help us to create like the visual identity, the messaging that we want to convey based on the origin story of our founders and the science, and then we were talking to people, and so the first manufacturer that we chose was not good. We learned in the hard way. We developed 5,000 products, and in the end, for whatever reason, it didn't pass on the quality control. So
it was growing bacteria inside the product. So we did a pre-launch, a soft launch in 2020, and then we learned that the product was not allowed to get out of the manufacturer. Imagine we're just launching the first time, and then we put on our website that was out of stock. It was good for us. And then we emailed everyone that bought it and explained, hey, the product did not, we want to ensure quality, we need to remake the product. And we'll send it again. So we learned a lot of
switch
things
manufacturers. Same with logistics distribution. You partner with a smaller partner, and then eventually you find a lot of issues. You grow out of them as well. So I mean, now we have a lot of learnings that if you're planning to launch a brand, or we can share, so you don't need to make the same mistakes. But without having the background, and we didn't bring anyone that could be another way to help with all of that. But initially there was a combination of like limitations in terms of funding, in terms of
we're just like, okay, we need to find someone to manufacture, find this partner, someone to distribute, find this and start building from there, and then hiring people that have experience on those areas.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing when you bring a brand to life, it's really have that authenticity and like very clear of what you wanna, why you are bringing something new, because there's so many products out there, like why we're doing this. And I think that was the thing that we always felt very confident. So everything else I think you figure out, even if you make mistakes. But I think having the vision of the brand, that was, I think that's the most important.
You had a question.
Yeah.
So I've been following along on your journey for several years, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys were talking about longevity before anyone else was, at least to my knowledge in the beauty industry, and we're ahead of the curve. But now it's this umbrella term across health, beauty, and wellness. It's at the forefront. So how does that impact your business and marketing strategy going forward? Just curious.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think it's good because obviously more people are getting to know about longevity and talk about it. And we see a lot of brands just jump into this trend. And now we are now we are longevity as well. But I think for the consumer, they see through the brand that has the story, the authenticity behind, and even that can support that story with like some data. So we were talking about longevity 2016, and we were the first to research cellular senescence, and we do have a lot of data showing that our product reduce cellular senescence. And there are many brands out there talking about cellular senescence, and we go to their website, like I don't see any data here that's actually showing. So I think in the end, the ones that are going to survive for the long terms are the ones that actually have that foundation. But I think as a trend, it's actually good for us, because then, as you said, we are ahead of the curve, and we can continue to be like the leaders and continue to push that industry forward. That's our goal.
One last question.
I know I'm like double dipping in the questions. I hope that's okay. How have you all been able to educate the consumer and cut through the noise? You all have a legitimate technology, and also just the way that it works as well requires a little bit of consumer education with the science. How have you managed to engage with the consumer, help educate them on what makes your product so differentiated?
Yeah, it's definitely the main challenge. I think for us, what worked pretty well was to first start talking about this in conferences, in kind of scientific discussions, and then people that were also developing some work got to know about OneSkin, about our science. So the thing that helped us to grow the most in the beginning was when like researchers like David Sinclair was talking about in a podcast and mentioned OneSkin as the first company. And then people that are listening to David Sinclair are interested in longevity. Oh, and there is this company that actually found a peptide. Same with like Peter Diamandis and Tony Robbins. Like Peter Diamandis interested in longevity. Whoever is reading Tony Robbins' book is interested in health and longevity. Oh, and there is this new approach. And then we did podcasts with people like Dave Asprey that is interested in the science. So that community was the first one to really engage, and they convert really fast because it makes sense. So they don't require a lot of education. Now, and as we get broader and broader, that is the main challenge that we face, because how we can make this complex message, simple enough that you can explain to your mom or to a 5 years old. So that's a work that's still ongoing, but I would say in the beginning that's how we got to where we are today.
And hopefully everybody today can tell everyone they know about OneSkin, and that's how you know you also start you keep going
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ripple
Yes.
effect, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody so much for coming. Reminder that we have 7 more events. You can find them on our website, AthenaDAO.co. One is the book launch. We have the journalist coming from the UK for her book launch here in the US in San Francisco on Saturday. Then 2 more breakfasts, 2 more panels, and 1 more cocktail. So check out the schedule. You'll be discovering other longevity brands, fertility brands. We're going to be talking about menopause as well on the 17th. And thank you again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of San Francisco Tech Week. And to the founders of OneSkin, thank you again.
Thank you, Laura, for organizing this beautiful event.